Hi everyone, welcome back to Jacksnax. I'm Jack Devine, and today we're going to talk about the concept of enclosures. I'm going to show you a nice lick that relies heavily on the concept of enclosing target pitches, and hopefully you'll be able to take this kernel of knowledge and go forward, okay? Take it and apply it to other ideas and lines that you have. We're going to break it down to its very basics. So stay tuned, here it comes. All right, so the rock and blues folks among us might be sitting there scratching their heads or dragging their knuckles, depending on, how primitive you are. Hey, what is an enclosure? Well, enclosure is typically a jazz concept, or at least that's the way I was introduced to it, is through bebop. And it's a melodic device that an improviser can utilize to create almost like a sequence of notes that precedes a target pitch. So, for example, if we were going to take a D note, we could create an enclosure from below the target pitch and then come above it, and then we would hit our target pitch. So we've surrounded the target pitch, we've enclosed it, okay? One semitone below, two semitones above, and then finally hitting it. Now, the thing that's interesting about enclosures is that they don't have to be diatonically connected, right? Meaning the idea doesn't have to work, the device itself doesn't have to necessarily translate to the chord harmony that you're playing over. So while you might be playing a chord with some sophisticated harmonies, okay, the outlying notes, the above and below, or below and above, whichever you want to do, don't necessarily have to be chord tones, although I think it sounds best if one of them is and one of them isn't. So in my example, I'm going to show you right here, we're going to use the D, but we're going to approach it from above and then below. Above, that's diatonic, we're in D major here. So we're going to come from the second, okay, that's a whole step. Above, and then and that actually will work just fine against our D major chord. And the idea is we're going to target the 1, the 5, the 1, the 5, and the 1. And just like we're going to recognize a pattern when we do these kind of ascending, right? We're going to chunk that information. When we do that, we're not thinking of every note, or at least I hope you're not. Okay, the idea is to think of the device and apply the device to. So dabba dabba dibba dabba dibba da becomes a kind of a device that we apply to this concept, the major scale. So let's take another concept. 1 5 1 5 chord tones, and let's use the device. Now the brain and the ear start to recognize a pattern pretty quickly, and it can get boring and predictable, so you can spice it up a little bit. You can do that and slide into stuff. And just like anything, you want to have a nice little way of getting out of it. But let's hear the idea opposite some harmony. Okay, here's the D6. Now we've got this fingering and this concept here, but we could take two other target notes, say in that D chord. Let's choose the 5th and, let's let's try the ninth. So let's target, it's going to be the same fingering because look, the distance is the same. 1, 5. So we're going to make the 5 our new this, and we'll just do the same fingering up here. Okay, so let's try that. So we end up with what sounds more like a Lydian sound. Let me key you into a tip here. That first note, that D, you might be starting it here. Make sure you slide up with your index finger, okay? That is significantly easier to get to. That B note is much easier to get to with your pinky when you've done a slide. Then, ow, how am I getting there? Okay, so. So let me break down those notes. That's D, C sharp, D slide, and then we hop here, pinky to the 6 of the D chord, okay? That's gonna be a B note at the 9th fret D string. So we're gonna come down to the flat 5 and then up into the 5th of the chord. And we're gonna do the same little pattern here. And then slide up into our tonic again, just like we did back here. Big stretch again from the D to, so that's from root to 6. So you vertical players might look at this fingering. That's all right. All right, so that's thinking this way rather than up the neck. But this has more of a, this has a similar fingering, so I kind of like it. Stretch. Stretch. And now we've ended on a chord tone, that's ending on the 3rd. If we're gonna break it into the Lydian vibe, it's the same thing, same exact fingerings. Big stretch. And then up to the major 7 of our chord, C sharp. Just like anything, if we take that idea and we run with it a little bit, we can multiply its use, right? Let's take a different chord. Let's take an A6 chord, okay? Let's see how that sounds. Actually, it's more like an A13, okay? So, that's a 6 and a 7, okay, against the A triad. So we've got this note and this note opposite, right? Now it makes sense that would sound good because, that's kind of close to our D chord where we started out, but let's try a B minor, see what that does. I have a feeling this is going to sound very inside. So D major and B minor are, relative major and minor to one another. So here's a little theory, but it should work. Yeah, so that sounds less jazzy. That's got a very heavy B Dorian energy to it. Let's try like an E7 sound. Same. So it ends on a 9. Let's try G6. That should work well too. Or even just a G major chord, right? Let's hear that. here's our line. So the D and the A are going to be playing off the 9th of that C chord, which is in there, and the 6th, which is a viable tone in C Lydian, right? So it should work, but I don't know. Let's give it a whirl, huh? That sounds really cool. I hope that this kind of lesson comes in handy for you guys and gals, and I'll see you next time, okay? Thanks a lot. Signing off from Brooklyn, New York, I'm Jack Devine. Cheers.